What is up, everybody? We're finally here at the final season of the Clone Wars, and yeah, there's only like 12 episodes here. Yeah, 12 episodes with like the uh last three running parallel with the Revenge of the Sith film. Right after this, I'm going right into that movie and do a spoiler review for that, so that way, because I just had to like go right into Revenge of the Sith. I thought I might wait a day, was like, no, it's just like I'm just eager to just hop right into Revenge of the Sith. But anyway, yeah, just getting right into it. We are introduced to the Bad Batch, right from the jump, and like I forget how like cool they were in this part of the series. And of course, I will eventually get into the Bad Batch because I because the next two things I'm gonna be reviewing uh, will be Solo and the Bad Batch, and I think like the Bad Batch is gonna be coming first. Then I'll be reviewing. I'll be gonna be watching Solo, so those two gonna be coming next. Luckily, Bad Batch is only one season. I can get through that pretty quickly. Uh, but they were assisting Captain Rex and uh, a couple other troopers and Anakin on this kind of like a, because the Bad Batch are kind of like special forces or black ops type of troopers. They're called the Bad Batch because you'll find out in like their TV series they won like the handful of clone troopers who weren't brainwashed into Order 66 because, ironically, of their malfunction, because, you know, like some kind of default or like, you know, born like with a, like a defect, which kind of like null and voids the, inhibitor chip programming. Uh, and because like like you got Hunter who's pretty much like an expert tracker, and it's like he can like sense like electromagnetic waves on a planet, so you can easily scout things out and search for things very easily. And you got like Crosshairs. We'll eventually get to Crosshairs, but he's like an expert sniper. uh you got of course Tech, who's the tech expert. uh well, he can still handle himself in a firefight. Uh, you got what's that big bruiser one? Because there was like a clone trooper in like the previous season called Heavy, and I thought, man, Heavy and this guy would have gotten along very well because Heavy always carried this big old Gatling gun, and this guy, shoot, what is his doggone name? Uh, hold on a second. Shoot, uh, they help Rex find Echo, who will be part of the Bad Batch as well. Rescue them from because they were apparently he was apparently captured and used in order to because he's like hooked up to this tank that they feed into his memories to be able to you know uh, access certain military secrets in order to like remain one step ahead of the separatists can remain one step ahead of the republic. Now keep in mind this is the final season, so we're at the apex or the turning point into this war. And of course you got like this I couldn't even look at this thing directly because you got like a fucking like alien like a man spider thing, and it's like named Trench, and it's like I couldn't even look at that fucker directly in the face. It's like I don't like fucking spiders. Like fuck me, I could not deal with that. Like nope, I'm not even looking at it directly, and just like move the fuck along. Uh, so they finally got Echo out, and he's because it was a nice little, you get the a taste of the Bad Batch, and everybody just seemed like to love the Bad Batch, and they were so excited for them to get their own series. Uh, I guess because like, I wasn't like when the Clone Wars was like airing live, I wasn't like following so heavily when I was younger. I catch it whenever I caught it. Uh, um, Probably should have like been more like attentive of it, like but back then it's like it wasn't really. I don't know. Then when I heard about the Bad Batch, I was like, the Bad Batch. It's like, I don't know why everybody's so hype over it. It's like they cool looking. And it seems like interesting, but it's like I can't. I mean, like I did enjoy the Bad Batch, but even still, it's like the Boba Fett show. It's like not everything needs to be a fucking spinoff. It's good. Dave Filoni can make great stuff, but it's like even still, it's like I can take or leave with having like a Bad Batch show, but they obviously making a second season, but it's cool. I do like the Omega character, but we'll get to her soon. But yeah, that was a cool arc. We finally got like Echo back. Then there was a short little thing, which I guess is kind of needed because it feeds into like the tail end of the series, to where Ahsoka is hiding out in like the undercity of Coruscant, and she runs into these Martinez sisters, which I completely forgot these women were also in the Bad Batch in like a particular episode where they was trying to like working with the rebels against like the Empire and stuff like that, trying to fight back. And they're like the Trace Martinez, the younger sister, who's pretty much like the mechanic and wants to be a pilot and everything like that. And while the older sister is like a gambler, like money shaker kind of situation, kind of like the slick talking, type of streetwise person. Of course, like she, had it out with Ahsoka because it's always been the sisters, and then now like this one girl, stranger is like get all like really cozy with her younger sister. Now obviously they didn't lead nowhere, and they're just friends and everything like that. It's just like it kind of like just it's kind of like in Luca where like I forgot those two boys' names, but like the older one is getting a little jealous because the girl's like, getting like, spending like all this time with his pseudo brother. And it's kind of like that. Now, keep in mind, in my mindset, if this show was made right now, I'm pretty sure they would be, people, in behind the scenes will be leaning extra hard, because I know like in the Gen Z generation are more like in like the realm of the whole like the queerness and all that stuff. That's where it's like leaning to, because there's more like welcome and accepting it, and like it's like it's part of their thing. At least not all of them obviously, but and it's cool. But it's just like, if it was made today, it'll be just like with Arcane. It's just like queer baiting, and that's what like I get like a little irritated with. I'm all for making sure everybody gets fairly represented, but it's just every now and again, it's just like with the CW. They notorious with this shit. It's just like you gotta they feel like they pat themselves on the back to where it's like, look at us, we're like progressive. Look, you know, they got mixed, black Asian girl who's queer binary that hooks up with the local teen hottie girl, kind of thing, that might be a little butch. And it's kind of like you're laying it on extra thick. You need to dial it back some, okay? And this is my personal opinion. I'm just saying, like, I'm all for it, but you gotta make it feel organic. Don't just slap us in the face with it, because it seems like you're just a little bit try hard about it. And that's why I'm afraid, like, okay, oh my God, please don't let the little girl be like sexually interested in Ahsoka. It's like, like, why? Like, but it didn't go down that well. And not that I wouldn't mind, it was just like, it will just feel so heavy handed. But Ahsoka, tags on with these girls who turns out the older ones trying to get some money for them, because it's just these two. They don't have no parents around. Apparently they were killed by Jedi, so they had like a thing against Jedi. They don't know she's a Jedi. And then they get in trouble with the Pikes when they trying to do a spice run, and they end up getting captured. But they end up getting away, but not before Ahsoka figures out about, like, Darth Maul has been like working behind the scenes with the Pikes. Now, last time we saw Maul, he got, captured by Sidious, but he's been in prison. Now, I think this is the final season. This was only fairly new season. Well, new-ish. I think it was like, they finally released this particular season, around 2020. Because prior to that, it's been 6 years since, like, the since season 6 came out. Little known fact, because it didn't like end on like it's like ending like a massive cliffhanger. Like, how does this lead into the Revenge of the Sith? That's where we was going at. Any hoozle. This leads into, like, Bo-Katan finding Ahsoka, and they teaming up with, get in contact with Anakin and Obi-Wan in order to, like, get some help in order to get to Mandalore and stop Maul's reign of terror. Now, this is where, obviously, like, tension is still there between Ahsoka leaving the Order because she can't trust, like, the Jedi, and how far they've kind of fallen, and it's still thinking, like, because their way of thinking, the dogmatic practices, is like, was too much. But, like, you see, like, contests between her and Obi-Wan, and, like, Anakin's just glad to see her. But, like, it's funny how he's trying to be like the cool-headed one between these two, like, like just glaring at each other, and he's presenting her with those dual lightsabers and stuff like that, like a bit of updated sabers. And of course, they cannot tag along with her in order to deal with Maul, because they were called away because Chancellor Palpatine is in trouble, because Dooku got a hold of him, which leads into Revenge of the Sith, and that's where they had to go. So Ahsoka, along with Bo-Katan, Rex and some troopers, and Bo-Katan and some Mandalorians go liberate Mandalore from Maul. And while Bo-Katan and the troopers are dealing with, like, those traitor, or at least the Mandalore is working for Maul, Ahsoka is dealing with Maul personally, and he's mentioned like he's seen like through the Force what his master's been like doing, and it's like he's trying to tell her like, you don't realize like I seen through the Force like my master's grooming your master and becoming his apprentice, and I was kind of hoping he will be here instead of you, so that way I can cut him down, and then that all his whole plans will fall apart because he has something big planned, and it will be devastating to the Jedi in its entirety. You don't realize he's hinting at this obviously, but she doesn't believe him, saying his vision is clouded, kind of situation. They duel, and then he's trying to make an escape because he knows like the danger is near. Like we're at this point now, and we don't know who was trying to. There was some kind of aircraft he was getting at, and like, we never know who that was supposed to pick him up or whatever like that. But they end up capturing Maul, and this leads into Ahsoka on the ship with Rex. Now, of course, Bo-Katan stays on Mandalore trying to take care of everything, but from the Mandalorian TV show, it is mentioned that during like the rise of the Empire, the Mandalorians, like most of them has been like wiped out, so it's only like a few, like a little like handful of them still left, and they're pretty much scattered and what have you, because right along with the Jedi, they were also like a potential threat because they were probably like nearly the only other race, other than like Sith themselves, that can tangle with a Jedi in like equal combat and potentially win, depending on the expertise of a particular Mandalorian. So Ahsoka get this vision. This is right when like Anakin in the moment is being corrupted by Sidious, kills Mace Windu, or kills. There's potential he'll come back somehow because we didn't technically see his body, but through so many years it is believed that Mace Windu had died because he got his arm cut off, he got electro shocked and then tossed out a window. So that's pretty damn dead, but shit happens. I'm pretty sure like they'll have the nearly same situation as Maul, and because Sam Jackson really wanted to come back in some capacity. So now of course at this point he's like Darth Vader. Ahsoka, and then like Order 66 has been implemented, and Rex, he struggled a little bit, but he ultimately succumbed to the inhibitor chip, and they all start to attack Ahsoka, who is doing everything she can not to kill these guys because it's still her man, especially Rex, but she used some droids in order to kidnap Rex and remove his inhibitor chip, while at the same time release Maul to cause a distraction while she's dealing with that. Now, through this course, Ahsoka is like, and like Rex is definitely heartbroken, but like I love this line because after like Ahsoka's like, I don't like, I feel some type of way like I do not want to kill these guys. These are our comrades. I can't bring myself to like get through them. And Rex just tells her like that, like, with all due respect, Commander, they do not care. They will sacrifice their own lives just to kill us. So it doesn't matter how you feel. They will kill you on fucking sight. That is, their programming now. Is they cannot help themselves. They do not want to listen. there's nothing you can tell them because there's no way you can remove all their inhibitor chips, because especially on a aircraft that's about to collide into a moon, and it's like you gotta like just deal with it. And then like she removes his helmet and he's crying because he's like the powerful tears in his animation. It's like he's saying all that and it hurts him to his core, that the fact that he had to say that out loud because somebody had to say it. It's like, because he knows, because even though he's using stun blasting guns on these guys, the fact that he has to take down his own comrades, his brothers in arms, for his life, it hurts him because there's no other choice. They're not going to give them any other choice. If they want to save their own skins, they're going to have to like fight back. But they don't want to kill them, so they're going to have to like stun them and keep them subdued until they get off the ship, which eventually they do. But Maul gets off first, and then they eventually get off too, and all the other troopers are dead to much of their sorrow. But they paying their respects by making sure they're they're buried and everything like that. She leaves one of her lightsabers behind, knowing for well, like, I don't know what happened to the second one. I think because like she had two. I don't know if she dropped one. I'm pretty sure she might have dropped one on the aircraft, but she still had one left, and she dropped that right there on the soil in front of the helmets that's on like spikes in the ground. And it's just like, it's heavy. Like in my mind, they like she dropped it because it's too heavy in her hand at this point. Not like literal, but like metaphorically, that is just, the weight is carrying her in her spirit right now. The fact that these were gifts from her, like, because she views Anakin like her older brother, her master, her mentor, who fell to the dark side and became like an apprentice to Sidious, who's caused all this pain and destruction, and she can't wield these anymore. She eventually get new ones down the line, as you see in The Mandalorian season 2, but it's like she can't hold these anymore. It's like they don't carry the same meaning to her anymore, because it's just like, it's too heartbreaking. She drops it, and along with Rex, she takes off to places God knows where, and it's gonna be like years before we see her again. Then some time went by. This is during the reign of the Empire, and Vader comes down, sees like this wreckage, because it's like a snowy landscape, because previously when Ahsoka was there, it was all deserty for a moon, but at least seems like it kind of deserty. But now it's like a kind of like a icy landscape, and like everything's like buried, and he finds Ahsoka's saber, and he looks up in the sky, and you notice he's recalling this saber that he given to Ahsoka. But he doesn't say nothing. You just hear that breathing, and he just turns around and just walks away, and the series ends. And the culmination of everything that went on throughout these 7 seasons is like reached to a very bitter kind of conclusion. But there is eventually a new hope on the horizon. But that is the end of the Clone Wars series. I got them all wrapped up. I'm going to go right into Revenge of the Sith, do my spoiler review for that. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of the final season of the Clone Wars. What you liked, what you disliked. So far, what I disliked out of this season was the whole Martinez sister things. Like, that could have been just one episode, if that is required, because they do, these sisters do come back in the Bad Batch. But it's like, God, it's like they're definitely more interesting than most like the side story where like the Padme's ex-boyfriend and like any C3PO R2D2 kind of side missions, and definitely better than like any Jar Jar Binks episode. But still, it's like okay, it's like and like I can easily take it or leave it. But anyway, I will see you guys in a few minutes while I cover Revenge of the Sith. So